there aren't that many companies in our sector that have got the opportunity that we have with P140. And that's not even counting the rest of the portfolio, which we don't talk an awful lot about, frankly, because P140 is the headline. So my final message is keep the faith. Uh, Believe that we are working 24/7 on these potential deals, and something will come in 2026 in the new year.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by ImmuPharma CEO Tim McCarthy. Tim, it's very good to be speaking with you again.
Yes, hello, Stephen. Good to see you again too.
So, Tim, back in September, you and your CSO, Sebastian Goudreau, joined us after filing a major new patent for P140. Last month, you launched a new website reiterating your goal of a partnership by the end of 2025. Now, this week's update suggests this deal might slip into 2026 and your shares have dipped. Should investors be concerned, or is there a bigger picture, Tim?
Yes, there definitely is a bigger picture. So let me just try and put it in perspective for everybody listening to this interview. We originally set out this year of 2025 to be the year of delivery, and I think I used that phrase a couple of times in interviews, and very much with yourself, Stephen, as well. And largely speaking, we have met that. We've spent the last couple of years, the team, in some really innovative work in the background on P140. And it's down to that innovation, that hard work of the team that led to some very successful studies that we carried out on P140, which led to the groundbreaking discovery, which we announced as part of the patent filing in September. Now, that then has led on to us being able to open up the discussions to potential partners. I mean, some we were already in contact with on a general level about the program. But of course, once you get data, once you get the patent filed, it opens up a brand new avenue of discussions. So we've been extremely busy since September in those discussions. And what you do with any of these things, you monitor it very closely. So we monitor as a team in terms of how the discussions are going, the progress of those discussions, and clearly the subject of the announcement the other day was the timing of any potential deal coming up. And as I say, we had originally put it in to complete it by the end of the year. The fact is, we were all very pleasantly surprised at the amount of interest and positive interest in the pharma companies that we've reached out to. And those companies, there are quite a number. I can't say, I don't think it's appropriate for me to say how many, but they range in size and scope. So we have a number of top 10 global pharma companies interested and that we're in discussions with. And then we have other medium-sized companies as well. So a good broad range of options for us. And the objective here is to find the right partner for P140 and the right deal for our shareholders. So I do understand how frustrating it is that we weren't able to meet that first target, but we can't sort of put away all the good work that has been done this year and all the announcements we've made this year. And, I stress that there is a high level of confidence in the team about completing a deal. And we're very, very busy, and that's always a good sign. And the fact that, we've got a little bit of competitive element in there is never a bad thing, frankly, when you're trying to close deals like this. So that's hopefully put it a little bit into perspective. Just to emphasize again, these conversations are very, very complicated. We're talking about a broad range of subjects. We're talking about scientific, technical, commercial. All of these have got to be put into the mix as far as those companies are concerned. They all have their own processes. We have to sort of fit in with them and work with them. But those discussions are going very well. It's the only thing we've missed is the timing in terms of completed by the end of the year. But we go into the new year with a lot of confidence and a fair wind behind us. So I'm very pleased actually with the situation where it is.
Thanks, Tim. Can you just update on your financial position? You updated your cash outlook as well in the announcement this week. Could you give us a little bit more detail around that?
Yes, of course, because for a company like ImmuPharma, it's always important that we have a robust cash position. And I think probably the last time we spoke, Steve and I updated the market on that. And there was a little further update when we put the announcement out early this week. just to say that following the certain events in this year, so we've had a number of favorable things going up, go in our favor. So we had some R&D tax credits which came in. That obviously comes in as cash. On the back of the share price rise in the last few months, we've had some warrants exercised, and we've just literally in the last few weeks come to the completion of the last Lanstead sharing agreement, which we had going. And because of the rise in the share price and the way these sharing agreements work, we actually ended up with around £2 million of income from that sharing agreement, as opposed to the original subscription of 1.875 million. So about a 7% positive increase. And I emphasize with no further dilution. So all of that added together has just allowed us to take another look at our cash flow forecast, and that pushes it out well into the fourth quarter of 26, or about a year from now. And that is important because, again, back to the partner discussions, when you're going into these discussions, you don't want to be looking over your shoulder wondering when your cash is going to run out. You want to be able to sit in a negotiating position with a secure financial background that doesn't even enter the minds of anybody discussing deals with you. So it was important, I think, just to re-emphasize that to the market. And also, let me say once again, there is no intention at all for us to go back out into the market and raise cash in a fundraising or any other shape or form. The monies to fund ImmuPharma going forward will come from the potential deals that we're talking about.
I mean, Tim, it all sounds pretty encouraging. What are the key takeaways from the announcement, and why should investors stay invested in ImmuPharma?
I think the key takeaway or takeaways from this is that fundamentally nothing has changed, and everybody got very excited, and rightly so, I think, about the patent being filed, the prospect of P140 in terms of what it can offer, to patients, and the way that it's the groundbreaking discovery that the team has made, how important that is going forward. None of that has changed simply because we've slipped a little bit of time between when we thought we might be able to get a deal done, and it's now slipped into 2026. So I'd like everybody just to take a step back and just remember that. It's not as if we put a notice out to say, oh, the P140 doesn't work now, we made a mistake. It's still there. And this is absolutely groundbreaking science we're talking about now. And that, is the feedback we're getting from the potential partners that we are talking to. So I think I'd just say, take a breath. We're hard at it. The objective from here is still to complete that P140 deal. We are very confident going into the new year to be able to close that deal. And at the same time, that will be what our shareholders are looking for us to do. Again, if I take a step back in terms of an investment proposition for ImmuPharma, and certainly in our sector, there aren't many, well, I can't actually think of any other small companies like ourselves, small in terms of capitalization, and obviously that translates to a share price. There aren't that many companies in our sector that have got the opportunity that we have with P140. And that's not even counting the rest of the portfolio, which we don't talk an awful lot about, frankly, because P140 is the headline. So my final message is keep the faith, believe that we are working 24/7 on these potential deals, and something will come in 2026 in the new year.
So I hope you'll continue to keep us updated with your progress. Thank you very much for the update today.
You're very welcome, Stephen. Good to see you again.
And you, Tim McCarthy, the CEO of ImmuPharma.